Were there also talks that took place in the basement?
Yes.
How would you and your dad sit?
He would sit in a higher chair, and I would sit on the couch usually.
How close would you sit?
I would sit kind of hunched over. And my knees would be in between his knees. He would be hunched over too. Our heads would be touching, and we would talk that way.
What would he talk about?
Either we went over what I was going to do the next day if I had a match or practice, or there would be something that he was disturbed about. I would repeat phrases. We'd basically go over the philosophies to correct whatever he didn't like that happened.
Give me an example.
When I was playing soccer, there's a kid, Jerry, and I believe I was 7 or 8. One time, Jerry's father came over and he grabbed me and said he wanted to talk to me about something. He wanted Jerry and I to get together and practice outside the team. And in the basement, my dad brought it up. He said, you know, you were over talking to Jerry and his dad. I said, he just wanted to talk to me about practicing after Dad. I think it's a good idea. He said, no. What'd I tell you about having friends? And then he'd say, let's go over it. And that's when we put our heads together. And that's when I would repeat to him.
What would you repeat?
Phrases from his books. I would just sit there and he would say, tell me what I told you about friends. And I would say, I have to constantly struggle because there are forces that tear me down, and sometimes they'd be disguised in the form of a smile or the hand of a friend. And he would repeat it, then I would repeat it, and he would repeat it, and then I would repeat it. He would say, good.
In these talks, when your heads were together like that, if you said something that was a mistake, what would happen?
He would bump my head.
Hard?
Not too hard. This was very trance-like. I usually had my eyes closed. His forehead was on my head, and we would just repeat things in this voice. Sometimes his voice would get harder if he was trying to emphasize, or if he didn't like what I was saying. He would just bump my head like that, and I'd try to go back and do it again.
He would also talk to you about philosophy.
Yes.
Did he have a particular book that he liked to teach you about?
Yes. That was The Greatest Salesman in the World.
Did he have you memorize substantial portions of the book?
Certain passages I memorized. Other passages were blacked out.
Did he tell you why he blacked out certain portions of the book?
Yes. He told me that they weren't relevant. This was a great author. That was a special book for everybody, but that only certain passages pertained to me.
Do you remember any of them today?
I remember some of the passages. There were 2 that were important. One was, I will be the master of my emotions. If I feel depressed, I will sing. If I feel sad, I will laugh. If I feel ill, I will double my labor. If I feel fear, I will plunge ahead. If I feel inferior, I will wear new garments. If I feel poverty, I will think of wealth to come. If I feel insignificant, I will remember my goals. I will be master of my emotions.
Why was mastering your emotions important?
It was really crucial to Dad, and a great sign of weakness to display emotion, happy or sad, as there's another passage about being too happy, too confident, too pleased with yourself, to remember your failures. So neither one. Somebody just unemotional that you couldn't read. In the sports context, that's all that would be, not to give away what you're feeling, especially with regards to me, who seem to have a problem with nerves, fear. Another line I forgot is, if I feel uncertain, I will raise my voice. And that's a problem I had, speech problems. They were very important for me. If I could master these things, I could reach my goals.
Were there also passages in there that talked about people being better than other people? That's
the passage that we recited most often because it had to do with my ancestors. I was not born into this world in defeat, nor does failure course within my veins. I am not a sheep waiting to be prodded by my shepherd. I am a lion, and I refuse to walk and to talk and to sleep with the sheep. And I will hear not those who weep and complain, for their disease is contagious, and let them join the sheep. That was the theme. Other kids weren't trained in the way I was. They didn't come from the same bloodline, and they had this disease of mediocrity, and it was contagious, and to stay away from. And I was a weak person. I seemed to be tempted for some reason to hang out with other kids, and I needed to remind myself. So we worked on it.